Good morning, you beautiful people, and thank you for the patience for all those who are tuning in live. You may have noticed the video was meant to be live at 8 o'clock and it's now 8:45. That's just the realities of life. Nicholas hurt her ankle, unfortunately. She tripped the other day, so I've just had to run around helping her. But we're all good. We're all absolutely wonderful. How are you doing, guys? Are you good? Let me know how you're feeling today. Let me just sort the exposure out. That should be a little bit better. There we go, I think. Maybe a bit too overexposed. This is a dishevelled Stephen who's just sort of not had a shower yet or anything like that. But it's a Stephen who wants to talk about Manchester City Football Club because there's lots to talk about right now. There really is. It's exciting. I'm genuinely excited. I think City are in a really good spot. And I've got a feeling this could be... We could be seeing the signs of a different Manchester City, and I cannot wait for that. Welcome to the bank holiday video as well. If you're in the UK, there's a good chance you're off today, celebrating an extra day off, which would be very, very nice. If not, if you're elsewhere or you're not got a bank holiday off, I'm sorry. I hope you watch it anyway. Please give the video a like. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you are new here. I think it's a home of really good Manchester City content. I am biased, of course, but I feel like I'm measured. I have good guests on. I do good stuff. I'm a lifelong Manchester City fan as well from Manchester. So what more do you want? Hit that subscribe button, hit the like on the video. Of course, as well, you can watch my match reaction if you want to, but this is 5 things that I want to talk about. Now the dust is settled, I want to talk about Manchester City in a tiny bit more detail, and I'll go over to the first subject today. It's the title of the video. It's the only place to start. Savino. This man is an absolute genuine star, isn't he? Look, I'll be honest, when he joined, I was excited anyway. I thought he was going to be good, but probably not be the immediate starter and all this kind of stuff, and not leap out of that 11 and look like a superstar that early on. I knew he was going to be good. You can't be that good in La Liga and flop. You can't really. He was so good for Girona, or at least not be exciting, that he was always going to come in and be really impressive. But what I've been extremely impressed by is that I feel like he's changed the dynamic of Manchester City's side so much already. He really has made the team just feel alive and more creative, and he solves so many problems. So what he brings to Manchester City is immediately he brings a right-wing threat that we didn't have last season at times. Kyle Walker and Bernardo Silva were often on the right. They were not really electric in the way that he is going forward. You know, Bernardo, brilliant player, but a little bit more functional as a right winger, keeping the shape, keeping the ball. Not really going to beat 2 or 3 people and sort of create loads of space. Kyle Walker just offers basically nothing going forward at the best of times. So he's brought an outlet immediately, which is great because we definitely needed it, you know. So you've got an outlet over on that side right now, which is really, really useful. It stretches the pitch, you know. It gives Doku a little bit more space, or whoever's going to be on the left side. And I like it. I do it an awful lot. I admire it an awful lot that Guardiola's doing. And also, as well, he brings like different threats, you know. He's such a hard-working player that we've seen it already. The pressing against Muric to essentially force Kevin De Bruyne's goal was so special. That's that youthful vibrancy that you get from 20-year-olds, basically. Like, you can't really press like that when you had Mahrez out there, or last season Bernardo. Look, you can press really hard, but I don't think he's got the pace that Savino's got to press with that well. And it really, really, really makes a difference. When you had that ability to press so hard, and you go back to the when we had like Sterling on the wing and we had the pace up top of Sane as well. When you have that press and it's all working, it makes it an absolute nightmare. It forces sort of mistakes high up the pitch. It forces turnovers. It terrifies defenders. And then, of course, you had the ability on the ball as well. Look, I think the fact that you can win penalties again, like, wingers that win you penalties are worth their weight in gold. And we've already seen that from Savino. He goes past people for fun. And he does it right at the last minute as well. He's such a tricky dribbler that, like, he's going to force penalties like he did the other day. Like, that penalty winning genius is something that Sterling was really good at. But most of our wingers haven't been that good at it. Even Doku isn't that good at it as well, because he sort of just beats his man and doesn't go down. I think Savino's ability to win penalties is going to win us games over time. And of course, as well, you have the fact that he can carry the ball so well. I think Guardiola said that he can eat 30, 40 metres up so quickly. And it's one of those things where it's so useful. I mean, someone in the chat saying his delivery isn't there, but you can only really look at his impact. I mean, he will get better in terms of his final ball. Yes, of course he will. We know he got 12 assists or whatever it was last season in La Liga, so he'll get there. He's adapting to a new league. But we can't deny the impact he has in the game already. Like, if he's going to win penalties and force turnovers, and he only got an assist for De Bruyne the other day, you can't even begin to imagine how good he'll be. He's a really, really, really special player that allows us to press from the front hard. It allows us to potentially win penalties. It allows us to counter-attack better because he's got like that Sane-esque drive forward where he beats 2 or 3 people with so much pace. It allows us to play overlapping fullbacks. Rico can sort of go around the outside a tiny bit more. There's a real versatility to his game. And he's honestly, look, at 20 years old to be this good, look, come on. It's so impressive. So impressive. We've not had that burst of speed on the wings for a while. And it does change things. And it makes teams they don't know how to handle it. And it's so good, man. Look, honestly, he's my outside bet for Young Player of the Year already. I think he's going to be a superstar. I'll come back to this video if it happens because I'm so excited for him. And if it's not him, it could be this guy. Rico Lewis right now is absolutely undroppable. To be this good at that age, at 19 years old again, another young superstar in the making. We've got 20-year-old Savino on the right and 19-year-old Rico Lewis, who are so lucky. And right now, he feels absolutely undroppable. Guardiola was absolutely salivating with glee after that Ipswich performance because Rico Lewis, once again, absolutely immense. Guardiola talked about him finding space. He said, I don't know how he does it, but Rico Lewis is always alone, and then we can find him, end quote. He is always alone. I don't know how he does it, indeed. To have that football intelligence, when people talk about football IQ, this is what they mean. They don't mean an ability to play a great pass. That's technique. IQ is the ability to see it in the first place, or the ability to be unmarked when everyone else is struggling to find space. And that is where Rico Lewis absolutely excels. This player is so smart. And I saw a wonderful stat, by the way, where it said Rico Lewis had 11 box touches and also 10 possessions won versus Ipswich. No other player has more box touches and won more possessions in a Premier League game in the last 3 seasons. That is an absurd stat. So, intensely hard working, won 10 possessions, which is incredible, and he had more touches in the box than anyone else as well. It's so clever. What a combination of stats. That hard working, that intelligent. Look, he's a brilliant footballer, and I think defensively he's getting better. He's never going to be the big physical fullback that wins everything, you know. He's never going to be the guy who can cover ground like Kyle Walker. But in terms of positional sense and awareness and tenacity, look, he's such a natural defender in that aspect that right now, he's undroppable. Look, Kyle Walker's a legend. He's our greatest ever right back. And as much as Kyle Walker started to irritate some people with his captain's comments and his form has dipped a little bit, I don't think we should forget what Kyle Walker's done for this Manchester City side. I think there's a tendency to, have a recency bias when we form an opinion, but Kyle Walker is an all-time legend. Kyle Walker deserves our respect. Kyle Walker is absolutely world-class at his very best. But Kyle Walker is getting older now. What is he, 34 now or something like that, Kyle Walker? Look, he's nowhere near his peak anymore, unfortunately. He's moving on a little bit. So we do have to start a plan for the future. And for me, when you've got a 19-year-old Manchester City fan from Manchester, from Radcliffe in Bury, who is this good, this smart, who suits Guardiola's football so well, he has to start 30 games this season, Rico Lewis, minimum. Because, look, I'd start him all season, but he is the future, and he's such a special footballer. It gives me so much joy, a genuine glee to see a young academy lad break into this Manchester City side again, because it means more. It absolutely does. It means for Liverpool fans. But it absolutely does. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. As is this man. Do you remember when people were saying that KDB is actually spent now? We probably should sell him to the Saudis if they come in. Come on, lads. I said it on videos that I don't think we should sell De Bruyne unless the decline is absolutely slapping us in the face and so obvious that it's painful. But guess what? It isn't. Guess what? KDB was an absolute assist machine last season, even if he wasn't at his very best. And guess what? KDB still looks really sharp. He's come back this season looking like a man who he feels good in himself. KDB will not be KDB of 28 years old anytime soon, or if at all again. I'm not stupid. But is he still the best natural creator in the Premier League by a country mile? Yes, he is. His vision, the way he sees things, his goal threat, a lovely goal. Obviously, it's Savino sort of put on the plate for him. But of course, that beautiful assist for Haaland where he dinked it into the channel, who then knocked it past Muric, and really nice finish from Haaland. Look, it's absolutely wonderful stuff. The KDB is still a world-class creator. And I don't think we're going to see that sort of that drive past people kind of pace and power anytime soon. Well, he'll still be good at that, but nowhere near to the same extent. But he's still a phenomenal footballer. And like, people was too willing to dump him if big money came in for him. No, I'm sorry. He's going to get 20 odd assists this season if he stays fit. And even if he doesn't really do loads more than just get assists, he's absolutely worth his weight in gold. He's a phenomenal footballer, and it's great to see him looking sharp. And I feel like KDB is in a situation now where he knows that he's sort of on borrowed time in his career. He's not getting any younger. This is one of his last seasons where he'll probably feel really good about himself. So he's got a lot to prove himself. He missed so many months of football last year that I feel like he's just ready again to play. And it looks great. It really does. Haaland as well, this man. Look, I could have done a combined point about Haaland and De Bruyne, and maybe I should have really, about how those two together, if they stay fit, it's absolutely over for everyone else. But I chose this picture of Haaland for a reason. So you'd be convinced that this celebration here would be, I don't know, a title-winning goal or a big equaliser against Arsenal in the game or something like that. But no, it's Haaland against Ipswich in the second game of the season when City are winning, you know. There are reasonably low stakes here, but Haaland is this pumped up and this hungry right now. It's weird to talk about Erling Haaland not having a good season last year, but it's all about perspective. Erling Haaland last season was Premier League top goal scorer. Erling Haaland last season scored, and let me just double check the exact amount of goals. He scored an absurd amount of goals last season. He scored 38 goals in 45 games. He scored 38 goals in 45 games. But the season before, he scored 52 in 53. Now, that is absolutely insane. There's a good chance if you play 53 games, he still scores 44 or something like that, which is wonderful. But it's not the first season, Erling Haaland. That's not a problem. If he scores 38 goals every season for Manchester City, I am more than happy. But we've seen glimpses of sheer genius and brutality on an unprecedented scale from Haaland, and I want to see it again. And I feel like we are going to see it again. Haaland already this season is on 4 goals in 2 Premier League games, 4 goals in 3-0 competitions. And he looks like first season Haaland with that drive and that hunger and that thirst to prove people wrong. And I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited. He looks brilliant. He looks like a man who trusts his body right now, who, once again, like De Bruyne, had a bit of time away from football where everyone else was playing, and he's sort of jealous and wants to get back in the action. Haaland, of course, wasn't at the Euros because Norway didn't qualify, so he spent his summer chopping wood. Literally, that's not a euphemism. Probably did as well, I don't know. He spent his summer in the Norwegian mountains by rivers and lakes, chopping wood, and then just chilling out, enjoying his time away, drinking his milk and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely ready for the new season, and you can tell he's come back fitter and firing. And he said as well that it's the first time in years that he's not felt any pain in his body anywhere. His body is fully healed, all the information is down, he's ready, and mentally he's been missing football, and he's come back. I'm sorry, the quality of that hat-trick. Look, penalties are never easy. They are, but they aren't. They're like the hardest, easiest thing in football, if that makes sense. Like, your odds to score are really high, but the pressure is high. So he took his penalty confidently. And then his second goal, the way he knocks it past Muric. I said yesterday on the City Ramble podcast, which was on, the really impressive thing for me about that goal is that it's not the hardest goal in the world, but it takes multiple little tricky things in a row. The run is tricky to execute, the pace is tricky to have, the ability to take that little headed touch and do it perfectly past Muric, the decision making to do that in the first place is great. And then of course the finish where he lifts it over the defender as he tries to block it is really, really good. There's multiple just 8 out of 10 hard things to do there, which probably makes it a 9 out of 10 goal. It's so good. And then the third goal, of course, as well, the snapshot That is a I want my fucking hat-trick goal. Don't you deny it me, because City have been poor in that second half in terms of chances created. So Haaland went, I'm getting that hat-trick. He probably doesn't take that shot if we're 1-0 up or something like that, and he hasn't scored yet. But he wanted his hat-trick, and he got it. Haaland looks hungry. And look at that photo, man. That is a guy who absolutely wants to smash his goal-scoring record. I would not bet against it whatsoever. 38 Premier League goals. We will see. We will see. And finally, City do feel vibrant and they feel alive. And Gundogan isn't the reason, but I wanted to get a picture of Gundogan somewhere in this 5 Things Learned video. But he's part of the reason. City right now, there's a real energy, a real electricity. I'm tongue-tied because I'm tired. Electricity to how City are playing so far this season, which to me isn't a coincidence. I feel like the dynamic of this Manchester City side has changed, and for many reasons. If you look at how City lined up the other day, you know, I'll go through the team right now when you talk about it. There isn't a lot of changes, but there's just enough to make it feel a little bit different. Now, the defence is sort of part of the course, really. You got Kanji, Diaz, Vardy, and Edison there. But Rico Lewis is playing, and Rico Lewis brings such a different dynamic to Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker defends brilliantly in terms of pace on the counter, but Rico Lewis brings an intelligence, a youthful enthusiasm, and a hunger that Kyle can absolutely not bring. So Rico Lewis is this sort of electric, he's like a kinetic sandman where you just like links everything together. Rico Lewis has got this sort of incredible drive and personality and intelligence that he offers so much going forward, while he's also got a hunger and a ball retention ability that Kyle Walker doesn't have. So you got Rico Lewis, you changed it. And what else has changed? I would say Ruben Diaz looks a little bit sharper. Ruben Diaz did not have his best season last year. He was good, don't get me wrong. But I feel like Ruben Diaz has stepped up a little bit. I think Josko Vardiel as well, still young, but will be more secure. And he is more secure than last season already, I would argue, because it's his second season. I think Kovacic looked better because it's his second season. Savino has brought a real dynamism and explosive brilliance to that right wing, which is great. Jeremy Doku looks more comfortable. And once again, you've got Vardiel and Doku down that side, which has got real energy. So you've got the explosive brilliance of Savino, you've got the dynamism of Rico Lewis, you've got the comfort and more settled nature of Kovacic, you've got Diaz looking to prove something. Bernardo Silva is back in the middle, which brings a real aggression to Manchester City's press and tenacity. So we keep the ball aggressively while having constant outlets and game intelligence of Bernardo and Rico buzzing about. You've got Kevin De Bruyne, who looks really fit and focused, who's back in the team. Then you've got Erling Haaland, who looks aggressive as well. Then you add to that the return of Gundogan, and it feels electric. You add to that, you know, McAtee being in the squad, which is great as a youngster. Oscar Bob was bringing energy as well before his injury. And then you've got, obviously, Phil Foden and Rodri to come back, and Kabori on the bench, which is nice to see. Look, there's a real dynamism change to this Manchester City side. It does feel different. It does feel a little bit electric right now. And I'm excited. I really am. Like, City do feel alive. It feels like a different Manchester City to last season. And all it takes is a few changes, because we've got so many different tools to our skill set now. So many different arrows to our bow or whatever. It's little things like we've got people who can win penalties in Savino. We've got energy and youthful tenacity. We've got a better press with Rico and Bernardo and Savino and Haaland looking fit. We've got different options with Gundogan and Kovacic in midfield. City just feel different, and it feels really good. It really, really does. Guys, they're the 5 things that I talk. First, Savino is a genuine superstar. Rico Lewis right now is absolutely undroppable for me. KDB looks like he's back to his best in terms of sharpness, and Haaland looks hungry, and of course City feel vibrant and alive. Give the video a like to help support the channel. I'm going to leave it there because I'm going out to Manchester with the family for the day to get these glasses fixed and have a nice bit of breakfast in Manchester. Give the video a like, subscribe if you're new. Come on, you Blues. Top of the league, I think. Are we top of the league currently? We are, and it feels good. Hopefully they're there to stay. In a bit, bye-bye.